Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, and this is the Championship preview show for round 19. We're nearly there. Do you remember when it was 9 game weeks in 5 weeks, and we said, it's going to be a mad rush up to round 20, which is indeed this coming weekend. And we are very nearly there, which means we're very, very nearly at Christmas, which would normally, in most normal years, be a lovely time to all reflect. But it's been a bit of an odd year. So, hey, maybe we need the football to keep us sane rather than try and get rid of it at Christmas. But with that being said, you know the score here. It's preview and predictions time. We'll have a little bit of a chat about each of the 12 games this midweek. I think they've split it evenly again, 6 on Tuesday and 6 on Wednesday. And I want your predictions as ever in the comments. Hopefully you can see me and hear me loudly and clearly. Let me know if you are in the chat and we will get to it imminently. Of course, I just need to do my plugs first. The Championship preview sponsor is, our fan sponsor is the Donovan Brothers, in loving memory of Michael of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of these shows. Thank you to the Donovan Brothers for their endorsement and sponsorship of the show and their lovely respect for their late brother, Michael. As ever, you can support the channel. It says along the bottom via Super Chat. You can do that right now. Get involved over at Patreon. We're starting now to move a few little bits of bonus content off of YouTube and on to Patreon. So well worth signing up. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of good stuff for free forever. I think that's just the way it rolls, isn't it? Teespring's store as well. You can go and buy some merchandise. Tap in that discount code live at the checkout. You get 10% off t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, sweaters, etc., etc. Right. Shall we do this then, guys? Let's go over to the split screen and the sturdy old companion that is SofaScore. As ever, we will start at the top of the division, which means our leaders, Norwich, and they will be, interestingly enough, on Wednesday night visiting Reading. Get your predictions in for Reading versus Norwich. I think it's normally a good hunting ground for Norwich. I was there last time, in fact, and they won. They won a tight championship game 2-1. I think it was 2-1 with Vrancic coming on as a sub and scoring a winner, and Teemu Pukki scoring. So pretty standard Norwich in the championship stuff. Let me know in the comments. Zhao and Maite did not play the last game for Reading. If neither of those two are back, I think that sways what chance Reading may have had more into Norwich's hands, let's just say. You can see in the table there, Norwich are on a fine run, back-to-back wins, 3 on the trot, 37 points from their 18 games so far. With Reading, I've praised them a lot since the 4-game losing streak, and I need to praise them some more because they did go to QPR. Okay, it was a little bit of a late one, wasn't it? Ilias Chair hit the post on like 88 minutes, and then Michael Elise scored a brilliant goal on 89 minutes for the win. But they churned it out, didn't they? They went there, they kept the clean sheet, they got the late goal, bit of quality to get the late winner, and they did it without Zhao and Yaku Maite. Let's have a look at the recent form of both. Norwich are in brilliant form, aren't they? Just that defeat against Luton, which was a game where they were pretty much down 4 first-team players in that game, weren't they? And did not manage to get anything from that. I think that was the one game without Buendia, was it? No, that was Coventry without Buendia. But yeah, so there you go. Norwich lose with Buendia, rarity. But hey, look at that. How many games we've got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up there. 7 wins in the last 10. They are in fine form. The Canaries. You can still see the 4-game losing streak in the background there for Reading. And they've come back really well, haven't they? How many points is that over those 6 games? That's 8 points in the 6 games. Obviously, 9 or 10 would be more desirable if you're looking for, say, a top 4 finish. But at that point, they weren't. They were looking to just stabilise after the 4 defeats. So I think they've done a fine job. Again, the narrative really is Maite and Zhao there and starting? Norwich seem to be getting more and more players back. There was a rumour that Krill was close, although I think, given McGovern's played all the last games and they've still been winning, why, if he had a thigh problem, why you wouldn't just leave him now for the next 2 games and he essentially gets another 2 weeks more recuperation? Hey, he may be absolutely fine, Krill, so we will find out. In terms of my prediction, I will say if A, Krill returns, or B, Zhao and Maite are both not there, then Norwich will win this game, in my opinion. I think if Zhao and Maite are there and Krill isn't, then Reading can get something. So I'm going to assume that Krill's not going to be there, but one of Zhao and Maite will. I don't know. Someone will probably let me know in the comments. So look, I'm still going to go for a Norwich victory in this one, but there are caveats depending on who's there. I think Reading will sit in, and I just think Norwich will churn out another victory in this one. Let's have a look. Here we go. That's helpful. Radio Berkshire, AD Williams. He was good on Football Manager once, wasn't he? Reading are a top 6 side with Zhao and Maite, bottom half side without them. Are they back though? Reading's injuries will hurt them more than Norwich's. Norwich have a fine record away win. 3-2 Norwich, high score attacking focused match. 1-0 Reading, 3-1 Norwich. Cantwell man of the match. Is it? I suppose he might be in for a start, mightn't he? Cantwell, was there an issue with Plachetta, wasn't it? We'll see if he goes in over young Martin. 2-0 Norwich, says Alex. Really need to set up differently without Zhao and Maite. Maybe that's more of a role for Elise. Maybe he can come into a really important role in the attack there. 1-1, 2-1 Norwich, 1-0 Reading, 1-1. Let's just read that. Rest in peace, Gerard Houllier, who was a great manager for Liverpool, important for France's development into their World Cup and European Championship winning teams. Chris says, Zhao, Maite and Richards are out until the new year. So I'm going to stick with that then. I'm going to go for an away win and Norwich really to be in a strong position when it comes to Christmas Day. I think they're going to be top and I think they're going to be clear, aren't they, looking at this. Where are we going next, guys? We are going to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth will be playing at home to the Wycombe Wanderers. Get your predictions in. Bournemouth at home to Wycombe. Feels like an easy one to predict, doesn't it? No offence to Wycombe fans or Wycombe team. I'm sure I don't care what I think, but look, they're bottom of the table. They're in games. They're losing games closely, but they're not winning very many at all, are they? Still only 2 wins in 18 games now. God, it is a low tide down the bottom. Can anyone add that up quickly? 72 games for the bottom 4, and they've won 10 of them. 10 wins in 72 for the bottom 4. That is really low tide this season, isn't it? Bournemouth are in good form, and they're the one team that has shown a couple of hints. Norwich may get to this point. Norwich at the moment are just doing the job, aren't they? And very well, obviously. But Bournemouth have tonked Barnsley and Huddersfield in the recent 3 games, haven't they? 5-0 and 4-0. And Brooks, Solanke, Stanislas, Danjuma, Surridge, 5 of them, isn't there? Look really strong up top. 34 goals as well for Bournemouth. Has that put them past Blackburn as top scorer? Yes, it has. So top scorers in the division, second in the table, 7 points in the last 4. Bournemouth starting to click. Good job, Jason Tyndall. Let's have a look at the recent results. And even going back a little bit further, if I skew this stat, as you can, in Bournemouth's favour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 wins, 2 draws in 8 games is 17 points in 8 games. So even with that home defeat for Preston, Bournemouth have been in good form there since basically the 7th of November, in top 2 form as well, with the 2 points per game. Wycombe had the little splurge, didn't they? The back-to-back wins and the first victory at Championship level. And then, yes, it's been competitive. Look, 0-0 with Brentford, that's great. 0-0 with Huddersfield, who have taken down better teams than Wycombe this season. 1-1 with Derby coming from behind, only losing by 1 against Stoke. 2-2 against Preston, only losing by 1 against Barnsley, only losing by 1 against Coventry. But, I mean, look, we're predicting this game rather than will Wycombe stay up or not. So, look, they could give Bournemouth a game and, take a point in isolation. But that's obviously not going to be enough over the course of the season, is it? Getting a few draws is not recurring, and giving some competitive games. Look, I've spoken for a long time on a game between second top and second bottom. So look, I'm just going to predict a home win in this one and see what you guys are saying in the comments here. And it may only be a win by 1 goal, but that's been the pattern for Wycombe as well. 3-0 Bournemouth, says Peter. Remember, Peter put up the bounty for the 1 to 24 challenge, which I can't wait to judge at the end of the season. Bits over 6.5 goals. Well, can't see Bournemouth losing to Wycombe. We'll come for a point, sit back, hurt Bournemouth on set plays. Yeah, you'd imagine Bournemouth will wear them down with possession. Joe says, as a Cov fan, Wycombe were unlucky on Saturday against us. They play good football. Can only see this game 1-1, 4-1 Bournemouth. 3-0 Cherries, bank a home win. 2-0 Bournemouth, the only team who play to the same standards and work rate regardless if they're playing someone top half or bottom half. Nice. Despite the obvious difference in skill, it would be so classic of the Championship for Wycombe to win. Yeah, with 14% possession or something. 3-1 Bournemouth. 6-0 Bournemouth could honestly be a pasting. Bournemouth looks scary at the moment. I don't see a reality where they lose. This one, well, we've all pretty much got the top 2. Obviously, Norwich's game is harder than Bournemouth's game, but without Zhao and Maite, it makes it not just, people will look at the table and say second bottom or Reading away. But of course, Norwich's game is harder, but there is that colour to it. But we all seem to be behind the top 2 to continue winning. Let's talk about Swansea, who have also been winning. And this is a watch-along, actually, on Wednesday night. Come and join me. And let me give you good warning that the 2 watch-alongs are 5:30 kickoffs. So the EFL are counter-programming Amazon this week in the ratings wars to get the football viewers and going for 5:30 kickoffs with Amazon. Is it all free on the Amazon app? I think the Premier League midweek games are all Jeff Bezos up. So get your predictions in for this one and join me on Wednesday night for Derby versus Swansea at 5:30. By the way, it'll be QPR versus Stoke at 5:30 tonight. So get your predictions in. I'm already in my head going draw, looking at Swansea's tightness away from home and Derby's recent run of stoicism down at the bottom of the table. But let's talk it out. Anyway, guys, get your predictions in. Derby versus Swansea. Swansea, great win at Cardiff. Really, really good job. And, I mean, maybe a more pertinent question in the chat is, can Jamal Lowe do an Ollie Watkins and over time convert from a winger to a striker? I was sceptical, but really enjoyed his work at the weekend. And the second goal was absolutely brilliant, although it was more of a winger goal than a striker goal, wasn't it? With the dribble, the drag, and a brilliant, brilliant finish. Great job by Jamal Lowe. I wonder if he can... I don't know who he's got to work with at Swansea in terms of a an attacking, striking coach, but it would almost be worth them just dropping in a real, a Kevin Phillips or somebody to just work with Jamal Lowe and turn him into a number 9 in the same way Watkins was able to do at Brentford. The form is good, isn't it? Look, 10 points in 5 for Swansea, up into 3rd, and now noticeably the best sort of defence in the league. And they don't just sit back; they keep the ball. They have the 3 at the back and the double pivot in front, often Fulton and Smith. But they're hardly a team that just sits in and defends. So 10 goals in 18 games conceded. What have you guys said in the comments before? Goals win games, defences win titles and promotions, don't they? That's not my quote, but maybe pertinent. It may be Swansea's best chance of competing with the parachute cartel, who they've broken at the minute. Look, Bournemouth and Swansea, and then Watford. So Swansea have got in between them in 3rd place, haven't they? Derby have been much, much better recently. However, they need to win some games. We need to give them credit for stopping losing them. But we all know that given the start Derby have given everybody else in the bottom half of the table, that yes, what is that? 6 points in 5 games across the whole season would be fine, and you'd be touching the 50-point mark, wouldn't you? However, they haven't got the whole season, so they do need to throw some wins in this one. And look, vital game there against Rotherham at the weekend. So if I'm a Derby fan, I am overjoyed with a draw in this game and a win against Rotherham. However, you would also take a win against Swansea and a defeat against Rotherham, because the tide is so low. Doesn't matter whether they're 6-pointers or not. Just get some wins on the board and you will climb the table, particularly in that bottom 6. The defence looking much better as well for Derby since I don't know it's hard to tell who's responsible for this. So we'll give them all credit, McLaren, Rooney and Rossinia there. But the defence has improved, and they did lead in both of the games against Coventry and Wycombe. However, Swansea is a higher standard of opposition here. Look, 0-0 at Brentford and 0-0 against Stoke. They are far, far more competitive than they were. Throw in that victory over at Millwall. Swansea, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 5 wins in 10 for them. They are trucking along nicely, our Swansea, but it's going to be a hard season to upset the parachute cartel of Norwich, Watford and Bournemouth. I'm going to go for a draw in this one, and I think Swansea would be okay with that in context. But obviously, they'll look at it and think, can they go there and get the win? Let's have a look at your comments. Let me have a swig of drink. Alex says 1-0 Swansea. Derby can't grind out 0-0s forever. No, they can't. Peter says 2-0 Swansea. Carl, 3-0 Swansea. Swansea win here, says Harry. Lowe's confidence be through the roof. It will. Don't think there'll be a lot of goals. Swansea can grind. Oh, you guys are disagreeing with me on this. That's great. Swansea can grind out a 1-0 win, says Zach. Chris, lowest scoring team against tight defence. The away win, 1-0 Swansea. There we go. I'm in on the draw here. Joe says 0-0 once again. Hugh is still buzzing after the Cardiff, and I'm not surprised. 2-0 Swansea. There you go. So that's a nice example there of the chat not being influenced by me in the slightest, which is great. We do want we don't really want a group think here. We want individual sort of thoughts. So yeah, great stuff, you guys. 2-0 Swans. Although Hugh has come in and said 1-1 at the end. There, I'll go for the draw, and we will move on to the next one, which is Watford. This would be an interesting one, a really interesting game. This one, Watford versus Brentford. Go on then, you lot. Good luck on this one is all I will say. So Watford are this confusing team at the moment with a really good squad, some really good attacking players, a high position in the table without necessarily, convincing us that they're the greatest football team we've ever seen. But they have a manager who seems to want something from his players that he's not quite getting at the levels that he wants it yet in terms of the concentration and how can I put this? They need to buy into Ivic, don't they? You really need to buy into him as a manager and get that battle-hardened team and make Watford just really awkward, difficult opponents. I think it can come, but you just got to remember, will the Pozzos give him the time if they do, for example, drop to a 5th or a 6th? I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's the Pozzos, isn't it? And will the players go for it? I suppose as long as he's got Troy Deeney on side, the captain there, and the big name Ismail Assar. But there are just a few sort of European players who are being asked to churn out 90 minutes against Rotherham on a Wednesday night, and they couldn't do it. They churned out a very good 45 minutes and then went to sleep in the second half. So that's Watford. Brentford are churning big style, actually, aren't they? Starting to look quite good. And there's a little bit of a difference with Brentford this season and Brentford of the past. And actually, let me do them the credit they deserve, Brentford, because it's been 18 months of this now where Brentford are trying to turn into a consistent winning machine, basically, rather than this team of, and again, maybe it's 2 years ago rather than 1 year ago, that had some really good players, and a Ben Rama or a Watkins or a Mopai or a Hogan, or he'd get you even further back, Gray, who could win a game 5-0, but wouldn't consistently win through the season. Well, I mean, look at that last, is that 10 or 11 games? 4, 7. So look at that last 10 games there. That is obviously 5 wins and 5 draws, which will give you your 2 points per game. But 0 defeats is the thing, isn't it? Sorry, SofaScore's reset itself. The 0 defeats in there is the thing that maybe Brentford didn't have in the past. Bit of rotation. It hasn't always been, and Ivic has done this as well, to be fair, but it hasn't always been Pinnock and Janssen playing every game. It's been Sorensen rotating with one or the other. So, and also with Kanyos and Godos and Fosu up the top and in central midfield. So he's doing a decent crack at this, Frank. But again, they've got to go against the parachute cartel. And here we go with Brentford, who are one of the challengers, and Reading both taking on the cartel this week. If Norwich and Watford both get victories, then we know what to expect. So I'm going to put my neck on the line here, knowing that Watford are a good home team. I'm going to go for Brentford with a statement victory here, and they're going to go and shut out Watford. If that doesn't happen and we do get, say, for example, Norwich and Watford both win by 2 goals, then we kind of know this is literally just a 3-way shootout, don't we? And there just isn't enough to challenge Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford this season. So we hope, look, we could get a brilliant automatic race with just those 3 teams in it, but we'd like a few more involved, wouldn't we? Let's just say as neutrals here. Let's see what you guys are saying. Hugh says 3-1 Watford. Joe says 1-1. Peter says 3-1 Watford. Alex 0-0. Both teams seem to dominate the bottom half and look a bit lost. Yeah, okay. Fair comment. 2-2 says Carl. James says still baffles me that Watford haven't run away with it already. Oh, there's 2 other teams that that will be wanting to run away with it as well. And you can't have 3 teams run away with it, can you? I think Brentford might be Watford's banana peel, going 3-1 Brentford. Watford, Brentford, my prediction is anything could happen. Of course, it's the Championship. 0-0, both teams not looking not to. That's a good point, actually, Joe. And you would be happy, wouldn't you? Take the draw and go and win the next game, take the 4 points off the 2 games, and up, and away you go. Cameron says 1-1. Mike says another boring 1-0 Watford with a Deeney penalty that their keeper gets a hat-trick. That is specific. Bits get on that if you're in the gambling. Watford's strong at home. Brentford's good away form based on wins at Luton, Barnsley, Forest and Wednesday. Home win, says Chris. Mike says 4 red cards in Brentford's favour. There we go. I've gone for an away win there. Why the hell not? Let's move on. Who are we doing next, guys? Now, this is where I mustn't get caught and miss out anyone in 5th, but we've already done Reading, haven't we? Right, let's go on to Bristol City. Ooh. Bristol City versus Millwall. I rubbed my chin on this one. So Bristol City, very, very spotty. Lost one, loss. They've had good streaks this season. They may be settling into their natural position of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere around there. We will find out. I think we do need to say Dean Holden has done a good job considering he's only 18 games into it and where they are in the table. However, I still find them rather unpredictable. Millwall are, unfortunately for Millwall fans, wholly more predictable at the moment because they're on a dreadful run. So, is this the game that establishes Bristol City as a team that can compete for the top 6 and they move back in? Remember, we've got Brentford, Watford and Reading, Norwich. So, at least 2 teams in the top 6 have to drop points this round. So, you'd be quite happy if you're a Bournemouth fan, wouldn't you, given that they're playing at home and Swansea have to go away? Could be a chance for Bournemouth to put some points on the rest of the top 6, couldn't it? Let's look at the recent form, and particularly I want to look at how Bristol City do at home and how Millwall do away. So it's still a bit spotty at home for Bristol City there. Lost 1, drawn, lost 1. There's no real huge pattern. They've beaten Blackburn and Norwich. They've lost to, they've beaten Blackburn and Derby. They've lost to Norwich and Birmingham. So we can't really read massive amounts into that. Away from home, Millwall, 3 draws. But this has been the thing, 2 defeats. This has been the thing with Rowett's Millwall at the moment is when you're a pragmatic team and draws turn into defeats, you know what happens. Down the table you slide, and it's 10 there without a victory, including those 5 draws in a row, and they have not scored. Well, let's look at the goals for Millwall. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. This is binary code, isn't it? 0, 1, 0. So there you go. That's what we can call Millwall's goals, Millwall's attack, the binary code of the Championship at the moment. So I don't know how Rowett fixes this. He's tried all sorts, hasn't he? Up top there's Parrott, there's Bodvarsson, there's Smith, there's Bradshaw, there's Wallace, who's more than likely to start. So I don't know how he fixes this, and I don't know whether he fixes it at Bristol City, because one thing Bristol City have done quite well, if you look at the victory against Blackburn, who have got a very good attacking setup with Harvey Elliott and Adam Armstrong, Millwall don't have that, and Bristol City managed to, they ceded chances, but not massive, big chances. And then Semenyo and Martin and Wells created stuff themselves. Disaster for Millwall, but I'm going to predict a Bristol City home win in this one. I'm sure Rowett would be happy with a draw, given it's a losing streak, but I think it could go from bad to worse here for Millwall. Let's have a look at your predictions in the comments for Bristol City versus Millwall. Hugh says 1-0 Bristol City. Josh says 1-0 Millwall. 10 goals in 13. 18 points from 14 is awful. Losing to Rotherham, Birmingham, Reading in the process failed to break down pragmatics. By the way, Josh, your input on the corner setup for Leeds was brilliant. I really enjoyed that comment. I haven't replied yet, but great contributor, Josh, talking about how Leeds were setting up from set plays. Really, really good comment there. Enjoyed that. Bristol City to win 2-0, says Peter. 2-0 City. I think it'll be tight. I think Bristol City snatch it 1-0. 1-1. James is looking at round of 19 being the round of draws. Bazzy says Millwall going down. Wow. 1-0 Bristol City. A late individual mistake to cost them. Specific. Millwall 1-0. John Daddy. Will he get on? I don't think he'll start. Will he? Who knows? I assume Rowett does or doesn't. That's half the issue with Rowett at the moment. He doesn't know where his goals are coming from. 0-0, 2-0 Bristol City. Bristol City 2-1. Most inconsistent team in the league. who do I find confusing as well? Huddersfield I find confusing. Draw has to be Millwall. Reaction to a pitiful display against Borough. 1-0 Bristol City. Lee says sooner Baker and Mawson come back. How far are they away, Lee? That would obviously help. Extended contract for Rowett after surprise away win. That sounds like Marcus Evans and Paul Lambert, doesn't it? 0-0. QPR Forever is here. Welcome. 1-1. He says 1-0. Thanks, Ben. Why don't managers put men on both posts anymore? I don't know. Ask Harry Redknapp. I remember him lamenting about that once. So I've gone for the home win there for Bristol City, but fairly mixed in the comments. And look, it's, if Millwall come back to somewhere near where they should be, they could get the win. If they continue their bad run, Bristol City could get the win. It's right up in the air. That one isn't it. Who are we going to next, guys? Stoke. And this is our watch along tonight. QPR versus Stoke. Please come and join me for the watch along. And remember, 5:15 will be starting for a 5:30 kickoff. I sound like David Brent talking about the quiz in the office, don't I? 6 o'clock for a 6:30 start, or 6:30 for drinks at 6. Quiz starts at... I can't remember even what the quote is, do me. There's nothing more annoying than quoting a comedy show over and again, and quoting it wrong is probably even more annoying. So there is something more annoying than quoting a comedy show. Stoke, is that a little slowdown? Not really. 8 points in 5 games. It's a 2-game slowdown, isn't it? With 1 point from the last 2. I'll stick on my Stoke narrative. Tyrese Campbell got in it. I don't know how bad that injury is. I saw he tweeted something yesterday. Anyone got anything on that in the comments on Tyrese Campbell? But what Stoke do have is, I would suggest, outside of the parachute cartel, I think Stoke have got the most options squad-wise. Strangely, I would include Luton in that, in terms of similar ability to first team. I think Stoke come in just behind the parachute cartel on the squad there. Luton obviously have more even ability, but perhaps less high ability across the board. That's fairly obvious. I don't think I'm insulting anybody by saying that. QPR, that's a heinous run. Look at that, 1 point in 5 games. And the sort of thing that goes against you was that moment at the weekend where you hit the post on the 88th minute and then concede the goal on the 89th minute with pretty similar... actually, no, Elise's shot was more difficult than Chair's, but it flew in and Chair's hit the post, didn't it? So, yeah, really poor run. Can we mitigate QPR's run and say they've been playing good teams? Well, Brentford, Bristol City, Huddersfield, Millwall, Reading, maybe in Brentford and Reading's cases this season. And Bristol City have been in the top 6, haven't they? So, I don't know. Maybe. But look who the victories have come against. Rotherham, Derby, Cardiff. Particularly in Rotherham and Derby's cases, they were in bad moments when they lost those games, weren't they? Stoke are filling out my philosophy of... excuse me, it's not recurring. Churning it out slowly, but it's going to be a slow trend up into the top 6 for them. I think being without Campbell doesn't help. Draw at Derby, loss at Cardiff. They need a win. They have done back-to-back a couple of times there, but then, look at the last 8. Win-win, loss, draw, win-win, loss, draw. They'd be happy then to go win-win again, wouldn't they? But QPR and Blackburn coming up. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think Stoke might nick it, which is not good news for Rangers. I think Rangers will be open enough, but not good enough to get the goals, and open enough to concede is how I can see this one panning out. Obviously, they can win the game with Samuel and Chair, but will they? Have they got the goals with Dykes and Bon yet from open play, particularly in Dykes' case? Let me know what you think, but I'm going to go for an away win. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. What do we got here? Where does he start? Sorry, I don't know. If you don't put the name of the team, I don't know whether it's the previous game or this one. So these two from Peter or QPR could be the previous game. So James says, can't see Stoke losing this one 2-0. Is Campbell out for the season? Oh, no. Oh, that's terrible news. Oh, good luck to him getting back. Well, he's been a brilliant player as well, hasn't he? 2-0 Stoke, 2-0 Stoke, 2-1 Stoke, QPR 2-0. Total excitement, 3-3 with Stoke. Narrow win for Stoke. Derby 0, Swans 2. We're not on that one yet. 5 bellies, are we? Anyway, you're still in trouble, 5 bellies, for calling me biased against Swansea. I still maintain to be the least biased football channel in the world, that I know of, and still keep getting accused of bias. Deary me. Naughty step for you, 5 bellies. 1-1 could be the start of a downward slide for Stoke. We'll see. And will they be able to go and remedy that in the transfer window in January? Result of Stoke win. We're awful at defending. Linden and Bond not good enough. And Samuel could be out. Oh, dear. Not good at all. QPR's only point in the last 5 against Millwall, who are playing even worse than Rangers. Are Stoke still get a bit? Yes. I think Stoke are on the year 3 parachute payments. So that would be the 12 to 15 million quid one, wouldn't it? Which is obviously helpful, but far less helpful than the 45 or 35 million quid. But I think I'm right. It's 3rd year down for Stoke, isn't it? QPR 0, Stoke 1. QPR is toothless as a 98-year-old. 2-1 QPR to win it late on. No goals, 4 corners and 4 yellow cards each. There we go. Bits is bet on that one. Stoke, narrow win. QPR 2 open for this one. Stoke 2-1. What did I go for? I went for an away win on that one. Right. Let's move on. And who are we talking about next? Borough, who had that strong, 20-minute showing to blow Millwall away at the weekend. There is your table. And fairly close together here. 1 point apart. Borough and Luton in 9th and 11th. I have to tip my hat to both managers, really. That's a good job by both of them. Warnock picking up a bit of a mess left by Woodgate. Nathan Jones, not necessarily a mess left by Graham Jones, but they were down the bottom of the table and it's Luton and they've only been up. This is their 2nd season up. So good job by both. And I think stop the clocks. Both would be happy with 9th and 11th, although Warnock thinks he can get any club promoted. So maybe he probably wouldn't be. But maybe the fans would be, especially after the Woodgate experience last season. I'm not having a pop at Woodgate, by the way. I'm just saying they tried it and it didn't work and had to go for something more championship viable, which Warnock certainly is, isn't he? Excuse me, hang on. Don't know why I'm adding Pepsi to an already froggy throat. So Borough pretty inconsistent, actually, in the last sort of 7. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, loss, win. There's not many draws in there. And Luton are the sort of side who will go at you as well. So maybe we'll get a decisive result in this game. I think a lot of Luton's good results, I could be wrong about this, come at home. Let's check their away record. Yeah. So they got the away win at Rotherham, but since then, and look, a 4-0. Maybe that's a tip-off there, a 4-0 at Cardiff, which is a lot of Neil Warnock's players still, isn't it? So a great win for Luton at the Kenny against Preston at the weekend. 4 points in 2. I think I'm squidging towards Borough in this one. I think Luton, being what it is and being so good on the transition, will have a pop. I have to say Borough's Warnock. I said this at the review show. I was used to Warnock's Cardiff scoring every goal from a throw-in or a big ball into the box. But they seem to be attacking a little bit differently. He's many things, Warnock. He's not stupid. And maybe he's tweaked his philosophy with these players. Maybe he did what he felt he had to at Cardiff. It worked. Go figure. It's Warnock. I'll go for a home win. Borough to beat Luton. Let's see what you lot are saying in the comments. How can anyone call you biased, Ben? I'm sure you've splinters on your bum sitting on the fence for so long. Everybody does. So there you go. I'm biased on the one hand and I sit on the fence on the other. 3-2 Borough, game of the weekend. 2-0 Borough. or game of the match day, even. There we go. 2-0 Borough. Can't call it, but because of Warnock, 1-0 Borough. 0-0. Classic Warnock win. Watmore to score again. Yeah, 2 for Watmore this week. Luton quickly established himself. Despite that, I'm going 2-1 Borough. Draw here. Can't separate them. Borough likely winner if there is one. 3-0 Luton. 2-2. Borough fearsome at home. Home win. 2-1 Borough, says Katie. How do I think Warnock has got the best out of Watmore? Joe, because he's a brilliant manager and players love him. Now, and this is very interesting because fans don't love him, but fans don't love Mick McCarthy sometimes either, do they? As I know from having him at Ipswich, players love him, which is a sign of a good manager. And lots of players, when they get asked who's been the best manager you've played for, they all say Warnock, don't they? They all say McCarthy. When he likes you, I think he's a great manager, Warnock, and has proven that over many years. So that'll be it with Watmore. What more could you ask for? You could ask for our view on Cardiff, who play Birmingham City at home. Cardiff versus Birmingham is game number 8. I think I've got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, game number 8 for us. Might not be the best watch, this one, Cardiff versus Birmingham, but I think, let's give both managers credit. They're both developing as the season goes on, I think. I think they've both had their unwatchable moments, Harris and Karanka, this season, but some sense of, look, they don't have to entertain us, do they? They just have to win. We as fans want entertainment, but sportsmen, well, they just want to win, don't they? So obviously, no offence to how they're trying to do it. And I suppose, particularly in Karanka's case, what did someone say in the comments? It was like a youth club at the end of last year, and he's had to build his squad, and he seems to be doing so. Back-to-back wins recently for Birmingham, and 4 straight wins recently for Cardiff. Both sides know how to defend. I would suggest probably Birmingham are more solid than Cardiff. But Cardiff still, as we've pointed out, they're in year 2 of parachutes, and that affords them to be able to take. I know Cardiff fans will disagree and say that they don't never spend the money, but you're still bringing in a Harry Wilson who's probably paid a ton of wages, an Ojo, an Osai Tutu, and able to keep a lot of players that played in the Premier League and indeed got Cardiff promoted. They're not betting the farm on, an 8 million quid on Ken Zahor like West Brom did last season, or Norwich dropping big money on Hugel, or, things of that nature, that the different approaches you can take. So there's the recent form. I think I might land right on the fence on this one and go for a draw, because I do find both sides can be a little passive, and often when you get 2 passive sides going against each other, we talk about the irresistible force in the immovable object. Well, we then get the immovable object in the immovable object, which says draw, doesn't it? Let's see what you guys are saying. I'll go draw, and we'll see what you guys are saying here. 0-0, 0-0, 1-0, 1-0. 1-0 Cardiff, 1-0 Birmingham, 1-0 Cardiff, 0-0, 3-0 Cardiff, 1-0 Cardiff. Brum were lucky at the weekend, says Dom. 2-2. Brum, very hard to beat away. Yeah, just sit in there, don't they, Chris? Cardiff will be without more. How long is Kiefer out for, Chris? He got hurt in the Swans game that we did, didn't we? 0-0. Jay home for an early Blues present ahead of birthday. Happy birthday to you, Jay. Great contributor to the channel. Jay, so is John, and a Birmingham fan. Sanchez, Terrell and Hogan all rested against Watford to come back in. Fancy us to grab another away win. I think we have one of the best defensive away records. Also, isn't more up yet. A lot of predictive factors that could play into your theory there, John. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 2-0 Brum. Bazzy says, another splinter. Predicting a draw doesn't imply sitting on the fence. It just implies that you're predicting a draw. I have in this game week predicted 2 draws in 8 games. So, as I always say, the best comment is your own ideas rather than a critique of mine. There we go. I think he's just having fun, Baz, isn't he? But there we go. I'll always defend my corner. Sometimes to my own ends. I'll tell you about the Patreon I lost by firing back at the biased criticisms. But there we go. You win some, you lose some, don't you? Or you draw some if you're sat on the fence. Right, game number 9, Blackburn versus Rotherham. And Rotherham had a kind of out of nowhere really good performance at the weekend, didn't they, to beat Bristol City. I know Bristol City fans will say that they were terrible, but they really, really needed it, didn't they? Just in Bazzy. Nice one, buddy. Nice one, buddy. I know what you're on. So Blackburn in 12th with back-to-back defeats against Bristol City and Norwich. Rotherham, well, they had been on a horrible run. I saw them at Watford and they were so defensive for 45 minutes and then woke up after half-time. But they got the victory. However, we're still in this mode of Rotherham, well, we're predicting wins when they're playing at home and we're not when they're playing away. And they're playing away again. But will they be buoyed and confident after that victory over Bristol City? I wonder. Blackburn, obviously, and I know people get fed up, but Harvey Elliott is now looking in the Rhian Brewster mould of Championship loanees where you're going, you've got a really good one there and he's too good for this division. We're just starting to see that now. I saw him for 90 minutes for the first time in the Bristol City game and he looks a real player and he's 17 as well, isn't he? So looks like he can pick a pass and they've got Armstrong as well. So I think Elliott is now Mr. Loanee, isn't he, in the Championship? But did come a cropper in the last 2 games there. It's just Rotherham. Can we bring up Rotherham's away form? There you go. 5 defeats on the bounce away from home for Rotherham. The points are just coming at home, aren't they? So given Elliott and Armstrong, and I know Rotherham had a good win, but given they're away from home, I've got to go for Blackburn for a home victory in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying. Where are we going in this one? Peter says 2-0 Rotherham. Wow. 4-1 Blackburn. No word on Kiefer Moore. Could be quite so. Oh, that's not good. Good luck, Kiefer. Come back soon. Ipswich boy. Blackburn home to a bottom half team equals home win. Solid theory that, Mr. E. Very impressed with Blackburn. 5-0. And yes, we were awful against Rotherham. 4-0 Blackburn. 3-0 Blackburn. 4-1 Blackburn. Flat track bullies. Home win all day long. 2-0 Blackburn. Armstrong goal to get back in that golden boot race. Love it. Blackburn too much firepower. Blackburn have too much up front. 3-1. 3-1 Blackburn. 3-1 Blackburn. Bristol City let me down for 120 quid. Not good, Bazzy. Go and follow Bits on Twitter. He's the betting guru, isn't he? 2-0 Blackburn. Perhaps unlucky against Norwich, especially with their second goal. 2-2. Armstrong seems to be tailing off a bit, but Elliott is more than enough to keep it in it. 4-0 Blackburn. That was Bits. Have a word with Bazzy. Compare betting notes, you two. We don't want to see people losing out on 120 quid. Although I always think this with gambling. People say I lost out on 120 quid. That could have been a £1 bet. That's not the same as losing 120 quid, is it? And my argument is if you didn't have the 120 quid in the first place, you didn't lose it. Whereas if you bet 120 quid and lost it, you know what I'm saying, don't you? I think people play out that worst case, best case scenario type thing. Best case scenario, Barnsley versus Preston. Let me know. Here's 2 confusing teams for you. Go on. Good luck with this one. I can take any argument on this one because of the nature of the 2 teams. So Preston we have labelled fairly or unfairly as massively erratic. And Barnsley are equally as spotty now. So look at that, guys. Between the 2 teams, 14 wins and 16 defeats so far. So not very draw heavy. So we're expecting a decisive result. I think Barnsley are quite good when, beating teams below them, aren't they? So, and 3 wins in 4 again. But can we just bring up Barnsley's form? It's so spotty, isn't it? There you go. Look at that. Win, loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win. Who do they lose against? Bournemouth, Blackburn, Brentford, and Cardiff. So they lose hard games, but hey, beat Watford, that's a hard game. But then they beat Derby, then they beat Forest, then they beat Birmingham, Wycombe, Wednesday. Have Barnsley had an easy run there? Am I being unfair there? Or have they just had a normal run and they win the easier games and lose the hard games? But how can you analyse Preston in that way? Because no one knows whether Preston's an easy game or a hard game. Very, very similar. I've got no idea, guys. Absolutely no idea. This could be 3-0 to either team. Because I like Ishmael and I quite like Barnsley. I like Struber's Barnsley. I'm just going to go for a home win just out of the hat and see what you guys say. But utterly no idea on this one. Let's see what you guys are saying. What do we got here? Anthony, depends which Preston team turns up, but Barnsley need to continue with the high press. There will be goals. I said, yeah, that's okay. That's one certainty, Anthony, isn't it? 3-2 Reds, Wood Road. 3-2 Reds, Wood Road penalty to clinch it. Nice. 0-0. Preston away. Oh, okay. Preston are a good away team, aren't they? Away win. Preston to win this one 3-1. 1-1. Preston 5-1. 2-2. 3-2. Barnsley second in the league since their new manager. Right? Yeah, they've got a lot of wins, haven't they? Is it really second? Wow. I'll double check that one, Don. Great stat if you're right. Barnsley 2-0. 3-2 Preston. 1-1. 2 unpredictable. Go for the draw. Barnsley not good at home. Preston good away. Preston to nick it. 2-1. Always get asked this. Who do I support? Ipswich Town. 2-0 Barnsley. 1-1. Too confusing to make any logical case. Yeah, when did Chris? I make a logical case. I think every week in the Championship and get it wrong. So when did logic ever work in the Championship? 2-2 Katie. Fergie says 2-1 Barnsley. Mick McCarthy. I can do the same voice for Mick McCarthy and Barnsley. My generic impression of a Yorkshireman, a gruff Yorkshireman. Coventry versus Huddersfield, please, guys. Coventry versus Huddersfield. Coventry in good form. Huddersfield now without Koroma. Huddersfield got battered, didn't they, by Bournemouth, didn't they, at the weekend? But Huddersfield confused me as well. I'm not pleading the fifth on this one. I promise I won't. But when I expect Huddersfield to go under, they win. And when I expect Huddersfield to go over, they lose. But they score some lovely goals. I think there was didn't they not rest some players at Bournemouth ahead of this one? So maybe they got some fresh guys. Maybe they, not that they would admit to doing that because you get fined, can't you, for, not fielding your, quote, strongest team. But hey, if anyone gets fined in Corona times for that, then I think we all know what to think of that. That wouldn't be fair. Coventry an excellent run, aren't they? I think there's a win before that as well. So it's something like in 6 games, 12 points in 6. That's really good for it's 2 points per game, isn't it? I don't know if I'm right about that. We could check, couldn't we? Let's check. Yes. A really good run for Coventry. We said the fixtures would open out. In my oft-referenced trending up or trending down towards Christmas video, I did. Right for once, using, and to Chris's point, using logic in the Championship actually worked in that instance. But, oh dear. So we're at Coventry. How's Coventry's home form? I say home advisedly. Very good. Look at that. 11 points from 5 at home. How's Huddersfield's away form? Not so good. But then Huddersfield rested players. This is a difficult one to call. But I want to go for a decisive result in this one, which is not the way to predict stuff. Let's throw this up in the air. Because logic is telling me that Coventry will win, I'll go for Huddersfield to win. And this is the Championship. This will be one of the games that vexes me. But logically, Coventry are good at home. Huddersfield are bad away. Coventry are on a more sustainable run than Huddersfield. But Huddersfield have got 9 points in 5, haven't they? It's a difficult one to call. Let's go for a random one. Let's go for an away win and see what you guys are saying in the comments. Let's have a little look-y here. Where we go? A fellow League One. Yeah, some else of us are stuck down here. Fergie, Sunderland fan. Yeah, Sunderland, even bigger fan base than Ipswich is. So Neil says 2-2. Callum, unbeaten in 7, conceding 4 goals, 3 being penalties. Huddersfield lost their last 2 away games. There you go. Like I said, Callum, all the logic goes for Cov, doesn't it, if you look at the numbers? Cov 1-0 says James. Cov 3-2 says Josh. 2-0 Huddersfield. 2-1 Coventry. Coroma a big loss. McCarthy is from Barnsley. That was right. That was why I referenced it, Aaron. Although he claims to be a Leeds fan, not a Barnsley fan, doesn't he? There we go. 2-1 Huddersfield. 1-0 Coventry as a Cov fan. Defences seem to improve, but Kelly is injured. We will see. Yeah, did he score injured at the weekend? Going off at half time. Even though I think Corber unrested players will still fancy a home win. 1-1, 2-2, scrappy win for Huddersfield. Huddersfield don't do scrappy, do they? They either win flash or don't win. 0-0, Huds 2-0, 2-0 Coventry. Barnsley are 4th. There we go, joint second since the new manager arrived. Yeah, decent. Coventry 2-1, Huddersfield 2-1, 1-1, 1-0. Coventry, I think we've got it. Yeah. Streaky Lee in at Sunderland. But Sunderland won 5-0 or 4-0 at the weekend. Yeah. One more from Hugh there. 1-1. And Chappers 1-1. Even them out. Right. Last one here, guys. We're coming up the hour mark. I think we've done it. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been tremendous fun. Has for me. Hopefully it has been for you. Who's last up then? Who haven't we spoken about here? Must be Wednesday, mustn't it? Who are they playing? Ouch. Go on then, guys. Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield Wednesday. That is a huge game. I hadn't spotted that one on the running order. Go on then, pick the bones out of that one. You do not want to lose this game. And we've got narrative Claxons ahoy here, haven't we? 2 good managers with good careers brought in, neither of them winning. 2 really big clubs by championship standards and big clubs just by English football standards. But look at them, both terrible. Both stoic, pragmatic managers who like to keep things safe. I would say Forest have a better squad of players. Knockout will be suspended after his red card. Oh, I don't like to call this one. I might sit on the fence and just say nil for these 2 managers. Who are they beating? I know you can say no one in Pulis's case because he hasn't won a game, has he? But Houghton has beaten Wycombe and Coventry. So Houghton has form and Forest are playing at home. And look, I'm leaning towards Forest now. Houghton has form for managing to dispatch more teams than Pulis has so far, especially those down there with him in Wycombe and Coventry. Forest are playing at home and I believe have a bit of a better squad. This will start to put Wednesday in real trouble if even Pulis can't turn this around with his 30 years in the dugout or whatever it is. But look at the last 3 for both. Horrendous, both 3 straight defeats. However, Forest's 3 straight defeats have come against Brentford, Norwich and Reading, whereas Wednesdays have come against Barnsley, Huddersfield. And okay, Norwich have beaten both. Take them out of the equation. Look, I'm going to go for the... I'm going to pile in on you poor Sheffield Wednesday fans and go for a home victory. Goodness me. And that would make really gnarly reading at the bottom of the tape. So what if that actually happened? So let me just play out my predictions here. I had Wycombe to lose, so they'd stay on 11. I had Wednesday to lose, they'd stay on 9. I had Derby to draw, which put them 5 ahead of Wednesday. And if Forest win, that would put them 7 ahead of Wednesday. God, this could be really bad if Sheffield Wednesday lose. I'm going for a home win for Forest, and I wholeheartedly apologise to Sheffield Wednesday fans for predicting that, but it is what it is. They're a great club, but they are where they are with a 6-point deduction. Could be well and truly shafted with this result going against them. What are you guys saying here? You are saying Forest 3-0. Pulis to be sacked by game Thursday. By 30, excuse me. Wednesday 3-0. 1-1. There we go. Got home, away and a draw in the first three predictions there. Did I catch you at the end? I'm still here, chappers. I'm still here, buddy. 0-0 written on over, it says Bits. 1-0 Forest. Only confident against the top 6 teams. As we don't seem bothered about trying to... Oh, dear. Damning indictment there from Alex. This game could be the one who tries their best to lose the game with both failing and ending 1-0. 1-1. Biggest game of the season. It has that feel, doesn't it? Especially given the size of the two clubs and fan bases as well, doesn't it? 0-0. And the unhelpful draw there. 1-1. How am I today, says Panda in WWE. Being RKO'd there. I'm lovely. 1-0 Wednesday, 1-0 Wednesday, 1-0 Wednesday, 1-0 Forest, 2-1 Forest. Pulis is taking Wednesday down. Josh Windass has been good recently. Dunks, yeah. A couple of your ex-players there. Katie in the team now, ex-Wigan players there. Forest at home, 2-1. Nervy win for Forest. Yeah, whatever happens, Mr. A, it's going to be nervy, isn't it? Neil, Forest 1-0 Wednesday, doomed. Mr. Bloom disrespecting Barnsley, unbelievable. Barnsley, Mick McCarthy. I'm full of respect for Barnsley. Wycombe Wednesday and Millwall down, says Bazzy in caps. Mick says 0-0 bore draw. There we go. Right, thank you for joining me. That has been great fun. What I do want to plug is I'm starting now to try and give a bit more to the Patreons. So I'm going to do my summary over on Patreon as some Patreon-only exclusive content, and you can subscribe. Help me out. Try and make this my living. Subscribe over patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom for as little as $3 or $5 per month. We need to say thank you to the Donovan brothers there who sponsored this fan show. A beautiful tribute there in loving memory of Michael of South East London. Lovely picture there of Michael, a lifelong Millwall fan, an admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovans. Great bunch of guys. Had a Zoom conversation on them when they took up the sponsorship option, and all of them were on the call, and their wives as well. Great fun. You can support, as I've already plugged, via Patreon, Super Chat as well. If you're in any of the watch-alongs, a lot of people have funny little quirks. I think, who's it? Joseph, every Reading goal, he gives me a Super Chat. So, yeah, great fun there. And on the Teesprings shop with the code live at the end there. T-shirts, mugs, hoodies, sweatshirts there. Go and get yourself a Christmas present. Although it might not arrive now. We're into that iffy zone, aren't we, where you can order it before Christmas. Thank you, everybody. Please, before you leave, like the video. But your comments have been the main thing here. Brilliant. Thank you for all of your input, especially on a couple of those games. For God's sake, Forest and Wednesday, Cardiff and Birmingham, Borough and Luton. Some of them so hard to call, aren't they? But hey, it's the Championship. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And with all of that being said, from me, it's a great, big, lovely over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.